I'm chairman of the state's Alzheimer's Task Force, and that was the official business that took me to St. Louis on the other day I missed this year, presiding over the Missouri Senate, because I was at an Alzheimer's conference and speaking at it at Washington University and Barnes Hospital in St. Louis. So there's plenty to do. I advocate for veterans. I helped establish the Missouri Military Family Relief Fund my first year in this office. That is a fund that assists the families of guardsmen and women and reservists who are deployed from reserve status or National Guard status to active duty in one of the war zones in the War on Terror. And we know that those fine soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, guardsmen, reservists, they typically leave a higher paying civilian job to go on the active duty. So if that family falls behind in car payment, house payment, utility payment, we want to be there with cash assistance. And that is emphatically not charity. That is heartfelt thanks for a job well done to these fine men and women who are serving us around the world.
This is, there are a lot of television and radio ads. One of your opponents that he's running, I think most people would say it's a pretty hard campaign. And I wanted you to explain to people, because one of the charges is that, the job is to be tiebreaker, and he doesn't show up for that.
Yeah. Here we go. It's silly season, and there are a lot of silly, claims being made. There have been 5 tie votes, that he's focused on in my tenure as lieutenant governor. None of them were on final passage of a bill. Okay? They were all amendments. Now, for 4 of those tie votes, I was present in the building, and the record shows that I was present that day. It is at the lieutenant governor's option whether he votes to break a tie or not. An amendment that is offered that generates a tie fails. In each of the 4 cases that he has cited, I opposed the amendment, so I didn't need to vote no. It failed on the tie vote. The one that I missed was last September, October, during the special session, and I was at the Lake of the Ozarks speaking to a group of senior advocates in the home health care industry at about 7 in the evening, and that's when the Senate voted and generated a tie, and I was not there because I was 45 miles away at this conference, again, discharging my official business in the Missouri Senate, or as lieutenant governor, as official senior advocate. So it's a complete non-issue. He's getting no traction with it. No one else has picked it up. It's silly season.
Yeah. So when it comes to this is interesting. Those amendments as a tiebreaker, if you don't cast a vote, then it fails, which was your position anyhow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm sticking to the issues, my pro-life advocacy, the fact that I am the only candidate in the race with the Defender of Life Award on my wall from Missouri Right to Life. I'm the only candidate rated pro-life in this race. My opponent's rating from Missouri Right to Life, after some 20% ratings, some 40% ratings, some 50% ratings over the last 5 years, he is listed by Missouri Right to Life as, quote, their term, quote, unendorsable. And then, as I said earlier, I'm the only candidate with the endorsement of the National Rifle Association, and that counts for a lot here in southwest Missouri among to stand up, as I have consistently throughout my time in Jefferson City, and fought for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding gun owners. So I'm proud to carry the banner of pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment rights and pro-life into this campaign with the support of my lifelong friend Rush Limbaugh, whose ads have been heard across Missouri this summer and will be heard again this week as we go into the closing stretch.
This is really, I suppose, old news, but as I listen to you talk, I mean, clearly you've got a passion for what you do. You've got a passion for the causes that are there. And there was, conventional wisdom for a while had you running for governor this time around, and then it ended up not happening. What played into that decision for you?
Well, we had a guy step forward from St. Louis, a businessman, who said, I'm going to self-finance. Now, fundraising is tough against an incumbent governor. Even a governor who's losing, who's sitting in the office, can raise any amount of money. We saw that with Governor Holden. 8 years ago who was running for re-election and losing his primary to Claire McCaskill in 2004, but he could raise any amount of money. I mean, bucket loads of it. And Jay Nixon is showing us that now too. So last November, along comes this fellow named Dave Spence, who is a friend, and he says, I'm going to start by putting $2 million of my own money in to try to even the playing field. Mm-hmm. Well, that was $2 million I did not have. So once again, for the good of the team, recognizing that I'm a team player for conservatives in the state, I stood down and said I would run for re-election, try to help the team.
Do you have a like in any races? I know generally it's just wise to stay out of primary races, but be it U.S. Senate, be it gubernatorial. I won't ask you lieutenant gubernatorial.
Nick, I'm mostly paddling my own canoe, which I think you have to do in this business.
I totally get it.
And you paddle pretty hard and fast and furious.
Well, any final thoughts you have for people today? Just about your campaign?
Well, thank you for asking. And I've spent most of the summer here in Southwest Missouri taking my case to the people. I was in Berry County Friday night with a huge crowd in Cassville, and they're responding to the message of a conservative leader who's been battling for us in Jefferson City and producing results, whether it is helping to pass the name change bill for SMS to Missouri State, whether it's actually walking the walk of fiscal conservatism and cutting my own office budget and doing more with less, whether it's battling for the pro-life cause and earning the Defender of Life Award for Missouri Right to Life or the NRA endorsement. I've been there. And I've helped grow our conservative majorities in Jefferson City by doing more than 50 events for other candidates 2 years ago that led to the huge gains we saw in the Missouri House and the big new numbers. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get the link up for your website at ksgf.com. That way people can check it out.
PeterKinder.com.
Peter Kinder, that's a pretty easy one. Yeah. You know, once in a while you run across these like, so-and-so for a better America in the state of Missouri, 1826.com, and those don't really translate very well. Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, it is 8:30, and now Larry Wright with your latest news update here on Springfield's News Talk FM 104.1 KSGF.